Hello guys, Patrick here, Egg Not Poker. I'm going to be doing a new video today and we're going to be jumping into our bankroll challenge. Let me just bring up our current bankroll. So we are currently, let's have a look and see if I can actually see what I'm looking at. We are currently up $17.76. I think our all-in adjustment 1979, big blind 124.80, and our all-in adjustment big blind is about 27, I believe. But we've got a very small sample, so that's a little bit less relevant. But we're doing okay. The red line could be a little bit better, I think, but we've had to do quite a lot of folding and overfolding in quite a few spots pre-flop and post-flop where we are not going to showdown, where we have to make big folds. So this red line is tanked a little bit, but our actual showdown winnings are very good. So not making any crazy bad cooldowns, which is nice to see. And yeah, let's just jump straight back in the action, I suppose. So let's get these tables up and running. Just going to move my screen over here for a second, make sure we're loaded. We are currently up a buy-in, just so when we look at our results, you can see that we will be up a buy-in to begin with, just as a disclaimer. Right then, let's get started. So again, as always with 1 cent, 2 cent, we are really looking at just playing our hands in a vacuum, every hand. Same old shenanigans, same old jargon, nothing too fancy, nothing too ridiculous. Loads of value betting, loads of folding, bit of bluffing where we can, and just going from there, really. So, I suppose we have a somewhat interesting spot table 1. Versus a limp, ace-9, I think we're miles ahead. Sizing-wise, we absolutely want to isolate this guy. I don't think we want to go too massive, just in case these guys wake up with hands behind. I think I would probably go to something like 4. And then, question is, do we want to call off versus a jam? I think we'll have to at this point. I don't think there's any point in raising and folding versus the big blind. Maybe just has a hand like king queen. Maybe just got a hand like, oh, I suppose you can have a bunch of weak aces. You can have suited. You can have some pocket pairs. We're not doing terrible. I'm not super thrilled about getting 18 big blinds in here, but I don't think raise folding makes any sense. So I've already decided to call. It's probably not making a huge amount of money, but it's probably okay, I would think. So we find the flat call, and we've got about a 1.5 SBR. So the question is, what is his range? Well, his range is completely uncapped, isn't it? It could be anything and everything. I don't hate checking here. I don't hate betting. If we bet and get shoved on, I suppose we have to call. Not really loving it. I suppose we can get some value from like queen jacks, some king jacks, a worse 9, a pair of 7s. So I don't think I want to go huge. I think I want to bet, and I'm just going to call versus a shove. Let's do that. And I'm folding versus this 3-bet table 2. Again, this size is a little bit silly. Would be folding anyway, but not the best turn, because now Queen Jack improves to a pair, King Jack improves to a pair. A hand like Ace Jack, for example, now makes a pair. Villain can still have some 10x. I think this is a little bit too loose to bet the turn, so I'm kind of hoping this goes check on the river, and maybe we win versus like pocket 8s. Maybe not pocket 8s anymore. I don't think we can call versus a lead either, because there's just too many hands. I don't think we win this, but we could just beat a hand like King 9 suited, right? So I don't think we need to turn this into a bluff. I think King 9. Maybe I'm psychic. Gonna fold my King 5 here. It would be a bit of a loose open, but the guy's only got 38 big, so I don't think I want to attack that. Marking up my rooks. Also, a quick shout out, guys, to everyone who's been supporting the channel, liking, subscribing, leaving comments, etc. Thank you so much for everybody. We've got about 60 members in the Discord, and we're very close to 500 subscribers now. So please like and subscribe. Leave your comments, click the bell icon, all the usual jazz. It makes such a tremendous difference. The algorithm loves people who press that subscribe button, as do I. We'll be checking the 6-3 offsuit and folding the 10-4, I believe. Flopping bottom pair. That's our gentleman here with 6 big blinds left. He's fighting to the death. He's fighting honourably. Don't think I want to be doing any leading on that turn. I think checking is going to be fine. And I don't think I'm going to be continuing versus any action. We're just going to be checking, hoping to go to showdown. The way the volatility of 2-L plays, we could just be ahead here. But I don't really expect to win. But wow, this guy's just checking down King 8. I would have thought he might bet that on the flop or at least something on the river, but fair enough. Fair enough. Kojak, table 1. And 9-10 off, table 2. I think easy fold, 9-10. Going to be opening the King Jack. And let's mark up these short stacks. And we're going to be opening our Jack 10 suited. And again, this combo is a pure fold anyway. But this size, this 7.5 size is way too small. You should be going something like 11, 11.5, 12, that kind of size. I think 11, 11.5 would be optimal actually. But if I had a hand that had some better playability in a 3-bet pot, I would call, absolutely, because it's a good price. But King Jack offsuit is just very poor. It's going to play extremely badly. So we flop a nut shot, table 2, no backdoor diamonds. Got 2 overs. Problem is with these 2 calling positions, the small blind and the hijack, I think these guys are very pocket pair heavy. I mean, they're also going to have the same like decent amount of like king queens and ace queens and so on as well, I suppose. I think because we got direct equity and the big blind didn't defend, it's a little bit less likely that these guys have more hands like 7-8. I mean, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe that's just an assumption. I think I'm going to go ahead and bet with my direct nut shot on overs, and I think I'd be checking more hands like ace queen, ace king, ace jack, for example. I suppose I block jacks and 10s, but that'd probably be 3-betting anyway. We don't block any... I mean, we block folds, if anything, but we've got direct equity and 2 overs, so maybe we could just knock out, like, king 10, for example. That's never a bad thing. We block a hand like 9-10. We unblock 5-6. We could maybe get a hand like pocket 5s to fold the turn. And then we've still got equity, and we could still just win on showdown versus, like, 9-10, 5-6, I suppose. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to bet twice here. I think big bet makes sense because we're trying to put massive pressure on floats and massive pressure. Oh, well, not floats, but massive pressure on like very low end pairs, like maybe like ace 3 of spades, like pocket 4s, things like that. We can make fold. I would suppose you get pseudo value from like 5, 6, 9, 10 also, but we're just looking for a fold ideally, and it's a very easy fold to raise. Again, population check, call pre, check call, check raise is almost always a set or 2 pair. Almost always. I mean, even if I had a value hand there, I might even consider just folding it. Just the way the pool is extremely tight. Unless we have any reads, but this is 2-L, so don't think those reads are super useful. Can be opening my ace jack suited. Our gentleman here is this the same guy? No, this is a different dude, I believe. I'm not going to ISO the 9-10 off. And I think because this guy's short stacked, I'm a little bit less inclined to bet and get raised. So I think checking back is fine. I think betting would also be fine. We've got reckon small blinds to open the deuces. We can go for a delayed c-bet here or check. Both are completely fine. We just win on showdown often, and I suppose we block some of these hands like queen jack that we get value from and call. So let's just check and try and realize. The betting would have been fine, I suppose, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm just going to check and hope to win on showdown, I suppose. Which we actually do, which is very surprising, but it is what it is. I'll take it. Pocket deuces, I think I'm just going to go ahead and just keep c-betting. I don't think I want to do anything other than c-bet. I think betting and just trying to take it down makes the most sense at these stakes. And easy defend versus min open, table 1. So 8-9 improves, pocket 5s improves, 5-7 improves, 6-5 improves, I suppose queen 5 suited. And then this guy's going to have a bunch of club and diamond floats. This guy's going to have some hands like, I suppose pocket 3s and pocket 4s want to continue also. Backdoor spades want to continue also. I don't think this guy's got a whole bunch of folds. I really don't, so I'm going to check back the turn. And I might bluff this. I think I'm going to bluff this rivered king. Checking table 1. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn my hand into a bluff because I think this guy would bet 8-9 unless he's going to check raise. I don't think we win on showdown because we literally only beat a hand like ace 10 of clubs, and I don't think that's going to play. I think we lose on showdown, so I'm going to bet. I'm going to try and target a hand like pocket 8s, pocket 9s, a 6, a 5, a 7. I think there's just too many hands that we lose to with pocket deuces. We may not have to bluff that, but I think we really should, honestly. Especially when villain makes a quite quick river check. It looks like something quite showdown orientated. I think we could potentially lead. No, I don't. You could potentially probably lead sometimes for a small size table 1. don't hold me to that. But as played, we're just going to check and hope to, I suppose we just hope to go to showdown, really. I don't think we win here very often, but we'll take it. This guy's going to punish us. I just wanted to limp because I wanted to play post-flop against this guy. I didn't want to raise fold, for example. I'm not limp folding versus one big blind. And we flop a flush draw. Recreationals raises. I don't think he's just raising any two because I've limped. Because it's pre-flop, he could have easily checked. So I think he does. He's more likely to have a value hand. So we'll see how we go. So against one big blind, I'm really hoping this is more now likely to be something like King Queen, King Jack, King 10, a pair of sevens. So I think we can attack this. Had he bet bigger, I think I might just call even with the SPR. I am going to raise this. If I'm trying to make a pair of sevens fold, what would sevens fold? I'm going to size up a little bit here. We're not folding, obviously, if we get raised. This guy's snap calls. So now this guy just has like a weak ace, I suppose. Something like that is my guess. Just going to see bet pure on the monotones. We can check here. We can bet. I think I'm going to check with a 1-1 SBR. And then we're just going to jam the river. It's nice and easy. Now we get less credit if he does have like a one pair type hand. Because we've got the queen flush. We're only scared of the king of spades. But that, I mean, still... you know, it is what it is. If he makes the flush with the king of spades, he's going to win the money for such a small SPR. You know what I'm saying. 10-6 suited, I think it's a little bit loose to defend against the big blind. I believe something like 10-7 maybe would be better. I think especially in a high rake environment, we could probably defending a little bit tighter. Easy fold with our 10-4 offsuit. And our king tray. Potentially opening the king 3 suited with 2 wrecks here. This might be a bit thin. I think it's a bit thin. Although king 8 suited, I would like to open that one. Also with my king 9. What symbol is that? Is that poker code? Is that code, I think? Easy fold with the king 8 suited. Let's have a look here. Easy fold 9-7. This is the 8-3 and the ace-4. Again, as always, guys, if you are watching the video and enjoying the content, if you've been keeping up, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe right now. Just press that button. It takes 2 seconds to press it. It makes a massive difference, and it really helps me. Really helps the channel. Really helps me. Very, very appreciative. Thank you so much. As always, also please like or dislike the video. Please leave your comments. Let's open up this queen ace. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Queen ace, ace queen. Ace queen is such a weird hand to play at micro stakes because it does a lot of, especially in the early to mid position, does a lot of like early versus mid and etc. Does a lot of like 4 betting or folding, but it's kind of weird because you don't know if you got like how like your opponents are playing. So we were doing a lot of checking in theory on this board, I believe pure. I think exploitative we do a lot of C betting. I think because the board is so dynamic, I'm just gonna check call. I don't think I really want to bet and get raised off my potential equity, so just gonna check call the flop. As you can see though, look, like population just always bet, don't they? Like they just have no clue what's going on. Even though he should be betting this board a lot of the time, which is fine. I just don't think he's doing that for that reason. Also, this guy's bet a large size. I mean, I'm still going to call 1 because this hand's just a very easy call. I'm not going to be leading this turn because we're still dead to value. Obviously, he might check back some hands, but that's fine. Like I think you could lead some of the time more on like a king or an ace, but a queen, I'm just going to go ahead and check, I suppose. But as I was saying, like population are going to be betting whenever you're checking, just for the sake of doing it. And again, this guy's chosen a huge size, which does also worry me. If I was considering raising at some frequency, I would now not do it versus this size. Now we river top 2. If I check this and this guy nukes, as ridiculous as it sounds, I might even consider folding, blocking some flush draws. I might think about it. We'll see. if this guy pots or shoves, I might consider folding, because this guy would represent a hand like a straight or a set better than a hand like 5-6, for example, which would be the only value we beat. Against 29, I'm going to call because we beat 5-6 and we beat like Queen 9, for example, or we beat a total bluff, or a hand like Ace 10 of clubs. There you go, or King 10 offsuit. So I just want to talk about it for a sec. I won't pause the hand. I won't pause the games because we want to make sure we keep the action going. But the reason I'm not, I promise you, I'm not just being a definite here. I'm not sitting here going, ooh, you have to fold everything. You're going to fold top of range, top 2 on this river. The thing is, this guy's representing a total bluff or a set. And the only value we technically beat is 5-6 or some kind of rivered ace high flush draw, which we do a lot, which we block some of the better ones. And is also a little bit less likely as played. So it's like, I'm going to check back table 2. We can do some checking sometimes. This is a pretty decent candidate to check back or bet, I believe. But what I'm saying is, like, you just don't need to have these huge cooldowns unless you've got good hands. Like, that guy, like, you can see we checked here and he bets King 10 of hearts. Like, I know the board is, like, that's totally fine, by the way. Like, there is actually nothing wrong with that, theoretically, because the range is so good for him in the button defense. But it's just like when the turn queen, he goes ahead and bets again, and then the ace, he goes ahead and bets again. It's not terrible, but what I'm saying is you can just tell that people are doing it at full frequency, which is what I'm saying. So it's like, when people go ahead and bet and blast, like, it tends to be a really, really good hand or a complete trash ball. I'm going to bet small against like maybe a 7 or a pair of 6s or something on table 2. I don't think we get check raise here ever. Going to check table 1 with the nut flush draw top pair. You could also just bet again, by the way. This would have probably been okay, I think, with this specific combo with the nut flush draw as well. I'm going to go ahead and check the river, see if we can get a check raise. We got cool. So this guy, I don't think we get huge value from a queen. So I mean, I could bet really small against a queen, but I think I'd rather go for a check raise against a hand like Queen Jack with a heart in it, or a hand like King 10 with a King of Hearts, for example. I think we can check raise and get massive value. I think if we I think we bet check and then bet that river, I think we get just called by a lot of like medium flushes, where I think they may bet and potentially call a raise. And if he's got the King of Hearts, then maybe we get more as a check raise. Both are probably fine. Small bet or check, I suppose, for the check raise. But with the ace queen hand, again, it's like the way the population plays, it's like that person there I can take a note of and just say, look, this guy's going to like adjust and bluff with probably more hands than he's supposed to, even though that one was okay. But most of the population, I mean, this is, I don't know what this is. This is just a fold. But the population tend to like, they don't tend to go like big and show you a bluff. Like, it's very rare, okay, for like big. If the guy, the guy bet 3/4 on the flop, he bet like 70-80% on the turn, and then again he bet like 70+% on the river. He's basically representing like a set or a 2-pair or a straight. That's what he's representing. Like, the worst hand he could get there with is something almost like mine. For example, I don't think he bombs like King Queen. I don't think he bombs like Ace 10 of clubs. He might do, but what I'm saying is it's very thin and probably less likely compared to like the majority of hands. Like, I'm not telling you to sit here and fold top of range, especially underplayed, but it's just, you should appreciate the way the pools play. Like 2-L specifically on stars is just so egregious with the way it's playing, that it's just like, how often are you really expecting to just like just defend a really, really good hand there? It's just, maybe I'm just ranting. Maybe I'm just a nit. Dislike me. I'm a nit. Fuck them. But it's just, I'm not raising at any point. Like, I've got a pretty strong, I know it's a small sample, but over the long run, I've got a pretty good win rate at these levels. And it's just by sitting here and just extracting value from mistakes and not really doing it in. Like, it's not really anything too serious or too crazy. I'm not doing anything wizard. I'm not waving a wand. It's just, basically just betting for value and bluffing, really, with a whole bunch of C betting in between. Like, that's basically what I'm doing. Let's have a look here. Let's put up. I think we need to start getting to like 16 or 25 plus before we start really considering like doing anything remotely close to like well, probably more like 100 plus before you start considering a real solver strategy anyway. So just playing the 2 cards you've got is probably the best way to go anyway. So let's have a look here. So what have we got? So we've got table 1, ace queen suited. We do a lot of C betting because we just got nut showdown. Like, with nut showdown, I just want to be doing more general defending. So more general like pot control like rather than over bluffing. I think rather than considering like range on range, even though he's got quite a decent amount of hands here, but the jack-high boards are pretty favourable for me. I'm going to go ahead and bet my ace on the turn. Facing 3-bet, so this guy's a 6-0-0 over 18 hands. That's brilliant. This guy's also 3-bet from 2.5 to 10. We only have 18 hands on the guy, so I mean, I'm not going to fold ace-jack suited, but again, it's like, no, this guy's played 18 hands. He's 6-0-0. No, I'm not even going to entertain it. Like, I know it's a small sample, right? We could easily defend that. But look at the sizing, guys. Like, again, like this guy's gone from 2.5 open under the gun, and he's 3-bet to 10 big blinds. He hasn't 3-bet to like 6 or 7 or 8. He's gone to 10. It's a big fucking hand. Like, even a hand like ace-jack suited, which could never fold to a 3-bet most of the time, if at all, really, theoretically. You just have to start saying to yourself, like, even over 18 hands, the guy hasn't played a hand yet. It's taken him 20 hands to open a hand or even play one. It's like, even with that smaller sample, look at the guy's sizing. Like, it just looks strong. If it was in this position, I'm not as terrified, even though the small blind is supposed to be strong, because it's just like he can raise bigger from the small blind. But when they raise against under the gun, especially in position, and go like 4x, and they've got such a shitty VPFR, I don't care. I really think just overfolding just makes money. I just don't think he's got pure bluff enough of the time, and the times he does, I just don't think I make huge amounts of money from him. Honestly. Call me a nit, I don't care. My results will speak for themselves. So this guy's got 40 big blinds, so I'm going to size down to like 2.5 or limp. I think this is one of the only situations. Limpy could be okay, but I think just because of the rake, I think I'd prefer just to raise and try and potentially take it down, so let's do that. I suppose that's a better outcome than just limping pure, I suppose. Gonna play for about another 3 or 4 minutes, guys, and then we'll be done. Not really any super interesting hands this session, or the last one. It's a little bit boring. I suppose that's the only trade-off with playing a spot like I suppose we can 3-bet this ace-4 suited some of the time as well, but again, at these stakes I actually just prefer kind of defending, because I think we just play pretty well post-flop. Like this, for example, is a decent candidate to float versus small or potentially check raise as well. I think we play better playing post-flop than just like 3-betting loads and loads and loads and loads and loads, even with the rake. So there's not much we can do versus 5. Against 5 I'm going to fold ace-4 of hearts. Against like small to mid, I'd be floating or check raising. Against 5, we're just going to fold. I think 80% pot's a bit silly. However, in the small blind, I do like raising a bit more. And I'm not going to go huge. Like, I'm still going to keep my sizings relatively small. Like, for example, this guy's gone 3x and we're like 160 effective. But I'm not going to like start going to like 13, 14. I'm just going to keep it smallish. Just going to keep the pots relatively controlled. I suppose exploitatively, maybe when I've got like a value hand like aces, kings, ace king, ace queen, for example, maybe I would size up slightly bigger because I know the population's not going to really do anything about that exploit, and that's something I can abuse at the lowest levels specifically. So I guess that's okay. The trade-off, by the way, just as a thing, if anyone's interested, the trade-off with the high rake is generally you are inclined to play a little bit tighter, and you are also inclined to 3-bet more often, because you're trying to take, especially on stars, you're trying to take pots down pre-flop so that you avoid getting raked, and then you can obviously counter the rake doing that more often. Differences as well, though, like in a lot of situations, like I'm not being funny, I don't want to sit here and pretend I'm Lord of all creation, but I genuinely feel like I've got quite an edge over the way the population plays, so I feel like I can make a lot of money post-flop just by avoiding making them sort of fold most of their range and just forcing them to play against me post-flop. Like, I genuinely feel like I make a lot of money, like more money, in fact. Like, for example, here, like I'd be 3-betting ace queen off a lot of the time, but like I actually don't mind. I mean, you can also call in theory as well, technically, but like just having some calls here, for example, makes my range under-repped, and against these sort of like micro stakes nitty pools, I 3-bet here and he folds like king queen off pure, or like ace 10 off pure, ace jack off pure. Now I've got him in a situation where I can make more money from him post flop. So for example, when he snap checks his board and becomes quite capped, right, like I can attack and bluff these spots quite often, rather than 3-betting and sort of being in a bit more of a smaller SPR post flop, or in a 3-bet scenario. Not that it's a bad decision. I'm just going to go ahead and bet for value with my ace and queen at this stake. Otherwise, I would basically just be checking. I think a small size targeting something like ace 10 of hearts, for example, or ace 10 of spades, for example, is the best way to go. So, for example, you can see that this guy didn't bet range. This guy snap check back and then snap folded on turn. There's a lot of situations where I'll make more money in these populations by having more overall calls than 3-bets. And then and then playing them post flop. I can bluff them more often with a wider SBR. I can put more pressure on them with a wider SBR. Nits and weaker players' edge is actually more pre-flop with their nutted range. So, for example, they're forcing you to play a lot of pots. Like, they're opening tight, aren't they? And then they're defending tight, which means like when you've got really good hands or you're trying to bluff them, fine. But in between, it's quite tough. I'm gonna check back table 2 and. So he bets small and bet small again. We just beat a hand like King Jack with a heart. I'm just going to call the turn. This is a good river. I'm probably going to call unless this guy pots it. Yeah, against 3. I might lose here, but this is just too good a hand to fold versus 3. Yeah, that's fine. Nice hand. Table 2 versus check back. I think I'm going to check back, potentially bluff rivers. Yeah, I'm going to do that against the big blind. Yeah, we're going to bluff this river. Now we can rep a hand like ace 10, king 10. And we're trying to attack like an ace high, for example. So I don't need to go fucking massive. We could also potentially make a hand like ace 2 suited or pocket 3s fold. So let's try and do that. I think a hand like king jack of diamonds doesn't really benefit from attacking the big blind delayed on the turn of an 8. I suppose it could do, but it's probably not as great. But yeah, like to supplement not 3-betting as much with those sort of linear ranges, like I 3-bet more hands like that are really polar. So for example, like I'm 3-betting more hands like king 5, king 6 suited more at higher frequency. I'm 3-betting more with like queen 5 suited in the big blind against the button, etc, 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 and then with more offsuit bluffy combos, just to supplement some of these ranges so I don't become completely exploitable. Like for example, like I would be at some extent playing some linear 3-betting, but generally I'd rather play extremely polarized. Like I just want to make you will make more money post flop than you will pre-flop in these games. It's just a fact. Whether you're bluffing or value betting, however you're doing it, you will make the most money by playing post flop. Like if you can realize a good post flop edge, you can call in position more often, and then you're allowed to attack with a wider SBR more often. You're going to do that better. And then also when you're bluffing, for example, you're either basically in a mentality of you're bluffing trying to make them fold, or you're raising trying to get value. You don't unless you're against pure recreationals, you don't make loads and loads of money pre-flop. Like you just don't. Like you will generate a win rate, but it's just not much you can really by having an exploitative mindset, you can make more money, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm trying to keep up with 2 tables as well as explain complex theory. Well, not complex, but exploitative. Again, like ace jack can never fold to a c-bet most of the time, like in these in this dynamic. But again, like this guy's bet 4.5 into 6.5. Like I don't know if that's pure bluff or pure or value. I have no idea. But like it's just a spot where I just don't think calling makes a whole bunch of sense. Like against large, like I would rather just fold at this population and give them more credit. I think they just c-bet for a third more often with like range, for example. Pocket kings, I'm not going to be like trap calling here. I think I'm just going to be 4-betting. The problem is this looks really strong, doesn't it? Like UTG open, cut off 3-bet, big blind cold 4. Like exploitatively, I could call here to induce this guy to raise with like or I could keep worse hands in. I think I just want to be raising, honestly. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I suppose I could make this a little bit smaller, like 20, but I think at 2-L, I just want to maximize profit against hands that are going to stack off ace, king, queens, jacks, etc., whatever they're going to play. What's happened here? So we've opened the 8s. We can check again on the jack, 10. We could potentially have bet as well. Now we absolutely need to bet our hand. I think we're targeting a 6, a 5, 7s, maybe a hand like ace, queen, ace, king. I'm just going to go really, really small because I think we want to keep in some ace high calls. So let's note 12 is quite a large wager. 1.5 is nice. We might even get called by ace high, which is kind of what we're looking at. We'll see. Pocket 7s. Okay, lovely. I think he should probably be betting that himself. I don't see how you triple check that on the river, but I mean, it's not terrible, but I think I would have gone for value if I was him. Or maybe I'm just a bit of a whale, I don't know. We're going to sit out on the next big blind for both tables, and then we'll see how we've done. I fold the 9-6 offsuit. That's not the best of hands. Did we do anything on the leaderboard? Was the leaderboard bugged? It's bugged, lovely. Folding the queen 9 and the 10-4. Folding the 8th today. Even again, I mean, you could potentially limp, but the problem is it's just like with a high rake, I don't like the idea of limping unless it's super short, or I've got a hand that at least has some playability. So I think I'd be folding that regardless. We do have 2 recreationals in the blinds. This guy's actually an 8-1. That's a ridiculously tight. Against a VPIP of 8, PFR of 2, 3-bet of 1, or aggression factor 1, I think I'm just going to pure open this table 1. This guy's literally only playing 2% of hands. Wow, he's actually defended. Oh my god. I'm actually terrified. I don't know what to do. What do we do against a 2% calling range? I've got no fucking clue. And we've flopped absolutely no equity, and this guy's probably got quite a strong range. Shit. Let's bet and see if we can make a hand like, I don't know, 10 jack of spades. Oh, maybe like 10 jack of spades fold. Oh no, he's defended. This guy's calling range is going to be strong, I would assume. Like, it's a decent heart minimum, or like a queen or a 9. Or like 8s with a heart, something like that. I'm going to check this back. And I'm going to bluff this river, versing check. If he bets, he wins. If he checks versus 1 big blind. I don't see how I don't bin this. I really don't. Against 1, that looks so capped. That looks like... It looks like 8s with a heart. I'm going to bin that. Yeah, boom. You decide. Can I make 8s with a heart fold? We can. Excellent. Lovely. I'll take it. And that's us done. Lovely. So let's have a gander. So remember, we were up a buy-in technically. So we have to take off $2 from today's results. So we're up $3.36. We were technically up like $2.03. So we're up like $1.30 for the session. Let's have a look. Graphs. That's what I want. Refresh. Thank you. Okay. So we are 3,700 hands into the challenge. We are currently up $19.05, all in adjustment 21. Big blind behind is 25.35, and all in adjustments probably around 28. But again, it's such a small sample. You know, you can't really put a win rate on like 3,700 hands. It's a bit silly. I think what I'm going to do is I think I might, maybe we'll get to 5k hands, maybe something like that, or so, and then maybe we'll do like a general, like a bit of a pit stop review on a session perhaps. Let me know in the comments, guys, like what you prefer. Like, do you want me just to keep playing these? Do you want me to do loads off stream and then just go through highlights? Like, what would be good for you? Like, if you guys are enjoying the content, tell me. If you think you want some bigger stakes mixed in as well, because we've been mainly focusing on the challenge and some theory, you know, tell me, let me know what you want to see, and I will provide it for you. So, lovely. I think I'll be posting another video tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Wednesday? Yes, we'll do one tomorrow. So I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers.